Game of Thrones Backlash, a thought just occurred to me on the eve of the end of Game of Thrones, the day before the last episode. Think about how Britney Spears' fans built her up, worshipped her, and then tore her down, in comparison to the Game of Thrones Backlash. There's many differences, of course, but a similarity is that Game of Thrones ran on hype, hyping what was to come. There's going to be, winter is coming. More other things. Bran, you will be able to fly. You are the missing piece of all this shit, right? The Red Queen, what's her name? The Red Woman, saying, oh yes, the dark, whatever the hell is his name? The what's his name? The guy she worships, the Lord of Light. Oh yeah, that's gonna, and then Gregor Clegane has a vision, and or Sandor has a vision, and it's all built on like everything's gonna be explained at the end. And in that way, it's kind of like Britney Spears, because it's kind of like you're hyping some perfection that isn't really going to be there. Just like we thought Britney Spears, there's the image of her, it was supposed to be that she's perfect. And at the first sign that she wasn't perfect, everybody just like attacked her. And that's kind of what I'm seeing. That's what a similarity that I'm seeing here. So like all of the hype of Game of Thrones is now coming back to kick its ass. It's a backlash. And it's a sour taste, and because I was looking for a TV show to watch right now, and I was like, should I watch Game of Thrones? And I'm like, I can't even watch the earlier seasons anymore, because now I know it's going nowhere. And that's the backlash, is that now it won't go down as one of the greatest shows. And that's the price you pay when you overhype something. When you make a movie or a story, for example, where you say, big things are coming, and usually it's not going to be satisfied. Usually something big isn't going to happen. There's a few exceptions, like Harry Potter, where the ending really was satisfying. And I'm talking about the books. Or Infinity War. But, I mean, don't be surprised when something big doesn't happen or doesn't come. Like every single Stephen King book. Or every single Stephen King movie. I haven't really read many of his books. However, I think that Game of Thrones really rode on put the hype on thicker than Stephen King or Harry Potter or Avengers, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Game of Thrones really, really made promises. More than anybody. And everybody, like, Pied Piper, including myself, like the mice, everybody eagerly was like, okay, something good's happening. It's like everybody watched the show based on the promise that something was going to happen. Something big was going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if every single episode of Game of Thrones has a reference to how something's going to happen later on. And that's why a show like Breaking Bad, although it ended perfectly, if it had not ended perfectly, if it had ended poorly, the fans wouldn't have been so angry, because Breaking Bad never made a promise that it was going to end perfectly, that they knew how it was going to, something's going to happen. They never said that. Oh, Walter White, the Lord of Light says that you're going to be an integral part of the grand scheme of the ending of the show. And I mean, the greatest writer in the world being me, I couldn't, if you gave me the opportunity to end the show, I don't think I could come up with an ending. Because Game of Thrones was just too complex, there was just too many moving parts, and I don't see how you could have ended it appropriately. A happy ending wouldn't have been good, because the show's not about happy endings. And if Daenerys became queen, what the hell's to do with Jon being a Targaryen? I mean, was he just going to keep quiet in the end? There was no way it could have worked, I don't think. And the fact that the writer couldn't finish the books suggests that he painted himself into a corner. He took too many liberties. He even said in an interview that I heard, he said that sometimes he just goes for, gross out. Sometimes he goes for shock. And though I'm sure he's a great writer because enough people have said it, and because I've seen the earlier seasons, and I've seen what a great writer he is. Unfortunately, part of being a great writer is having a great ending. That's an integral part. Actually, no, not a great ending necessarily, but a competent, suitable ending. Or how about just an ending? Because this isn't an ending. And so, I wouldn't call it a prediction, but I wonder if in the future people aren't going to watch the show. Because everybody's just going to say, don't bother watching it, it goes nowhere. They don't know what they're doing, they don't know where it's going. Why get invested in a story that is not going anywhere? But yet is a story that is constantly telling you that it's going somewhere. I mean, at least in Stephen King movies, he's not constantly telling you every minute that it's going to go somewhere amazing. And so when it doesn't go anywhere, you're not surprised. If you support gays, click like. If you respect blacks, comment. If you think women are people too, click the notification bell. And if you care about sick children, subscribe. So I'll make a miserable video tomorrow about the last episode after I watch it. I don't have any predictions because I don't really care. Whatever happens will be random or not thought out, I think. And even if it is, I won't like how it was thought out. I saw a great video about, I forget where it was, but it was that Dark Snovia posted, where the idea that Sansa's going to become queen and that she was orchestrating everything all along. Because she'll clearly be the only one left after all this is over. They're not going to trust Jon because he's a Targaryen, right? After what Daenerys just did. So maybe that's what's going to happen. Sansa will be queen. I don't care. So whatever. Can't predict anything. For me, all of the bitching about all the problems that occurred in season 7 and 8 pale in comparison to when the Night King died before he even got through the door. That was when the show milked the cow, like Luke Skywalker.